Barakata Yahweh, Barakata Yahushai, Bayishim, Rakah Kodash, Barakatum. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh, Bayishim, Yahushai. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule and teach well. In peace and salutations to Ya'akim out there pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure until the end. This is the Brother Ra'aya with another video, and this is going to be another video dealing with all these doomsday bunkers that the powers that run this planet have been building and how it's all a part of biblical prophecy. The powers that run this planet understand that civil unrest and nuclear conflict are on the horizon, and those that are really in the know, like the elites, such as the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the DuPonts, the Gettys, the Warburgs, etc., know that the second coming of Yahushua HaMashiach, whom the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, is very near, so they've all been preparing accordingly. But it's all futile. After the dust settles, you elites aren't going to come out of your bunkers and further implement your New World Order. After these nuclear missiles are shot and Yahushua returns to save his elect, the 144,000 in those new spiritual bodies are going to go to wherever you elites are hiding, bust in there, drag you out by the scruffs of your neck, and slap chains on you. The only reason you're surviving this upcoming nuclear destruction is so you can serve as the first fruits of slavery in the kingdom of heaven. And there's nothing you can do about it except sit back, lose sleep over this truth, and wait for these prophecies to come to their fulfillment. And the first article I'll be reading from is on RT.com, and the title reads, "Run for the Hills, Pentagon Sends Teams into Mountain Bunkers as Pandemic Preparations Go into Full Swing." The U.S.'s Northern Command has sent teams of essential staff deep underground to wait out the COVID-19 pandemic. On the surface, more than 1 million grunts won't be quite as cocooned. Air Force General Terrence O'Shaughnessy heads up the U.S.'s Northern Command, as well as the North American Aerospace Defense Command, a joint U.S.-Canadian operation that monitors the skies over North America for missile and airborne threats. Earlier this week, O'Shaughnessy told reporters via Facebook that some of his watch teams would be moved from their usual command centers at Peterson Air Force Base in Colorado to a number of hardened underground bunkers. And the elites, like the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers, aren't going to be in these bunkers in America. They know that America is going to receive the brunt of this coming nuclear destruction, so they're going to be in more sophisticated mountain and underground bunkers outside of the country. These bunkers in America are mainly for these lower luminaries, like these military officials, politicians, and witches and warlocks. One of these facilities is the Cheyenne Mountain Bunker Complex, a warren of tunnels buried under 2,000 feet of granite and sealed behind blast doors designed to withstand a 30 megaton nuclear explosion, which is inevitable. Our dedicated professionals of the NORAD and NORTHCOM Command and Control Watch have left their homes, said goodbye to their families, and are isolated from everyone to ensure they can stand the watch each and every day to defend our homeland, O'Shaughnessy said. He also said that personnel sent underground will share the bunker with other members of the military, but he is not at liberty to discuss who's moving in there. Another team has been sent to an undisclosed location, O'Shaughnessy added. Installations like Cheyenne Mountain are integral to the U.S. government's plan to survive a doomsday scenario in the event of an existential threat to the U.S., the ultimate existential threat being the second coming of Yahushua. A nuclear attack, for instance, the president and his officials, as well as a contingent of political, military, and civilian leaders, would be immediately evacuated to 4 secure facilities to run the country from deep underground. These facilities are Cheyenne Mountain, the Presidential Emergency Operations Center under the White House, Raven Rock Mountain Complex in Pennsylvania, and Mount Weather Emergency Operations Center in Pennsylvania. This is Revelation chapter 6. I'm going to read verse 13 to 17. "And the stars of heaven fell into the earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs, when she is shaken of a mighty wind. And those stars of heaven falling onto the earth are those nuclear missiles being shot to the ends of the earth, 200 million of which are going to hit the United States of America, which is biblically known as Babylon the Great, turning it into the biblical lake of fire from sea to shining sea, and then a desolate wasteland afterwards. And the heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together, talking about that mushroom cloud when it billows into itself, and every mountain and island were moved out of their places, and the kings of the earth, your Rothschilds and your Rockefellers, and the great men and the rich men, your Jeff Bezoses and Bill Gates, and the chief captains and the mighty men, your military officials, and every bondman and every free man hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains. Run for the hills. Pentagon sends teams into mountain bunkers as pandemic preparations go into full swing, and they hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains. Verse 16, and said to the mountains and rocks, fall on us, and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne, the Most High, Yahweh, and from the wrath of the Lamb, Yahushai HaMashiach. For the great day of his wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand? No one shall be able to stand before him that sitteth on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb. And now I'm going to go to my second article on CNN.com titled, Billionaire Bunkers, How the 1% Are Preparing for the Apocalypse, the Great Men and the Rich Men. Say doomsday bunker, and most people would imagine a concrete room filled with cots and canned goods. The threat of global annihilation may feel as present as it did during the Cold War, but today's high-security shelters could not be more different from their 20th century counterparts. A number of companies around the world are meeting a growing demand for structures that protect from any risk, whether it's a global pandemic, an asteroid, or World War III, which is inevitable, as it says in Revelation chapter 11, 2 woes are past, and the third woe cometh quickly, while also delivering luxurious amenities. Your father or grandfather's bunker was not very comfortable, says Robert Vicino, a real estate entrepreneur and CEO of Vivos, a company he founded that builds and manages high-end shelters around the world. They were gray, they were metal, like a ship or something military, and the truth is mankind cannot survive long-term in such a Spartan, bleak environment. Here's an image. Planned amenities include a pool and an underground garden that features simulated natural light. Doomsday demand. Many of the world's elite, including hedge fund managers, sports stars, and tech executives, Bill Gates is rumored to have bunkers at all his properties, and later on we'll be reading about one of Bill Gates's bunkers, have chosen to design their own secret shelters to house their families and staff. Gary Lynch, general manager of Texas-based Rising S Company, says 2016 sales for their custom high-end underground bunkers grew 700% compared to 2015, while overall sales have grown 300% since the November U.S. presidential election alone. And best believe that these billionaires didn't get all these properties just because of the presidential elections. If you're that high up in the Billionaire Boys Club, you know what's going on behind the scenes. These higher-ups know that the presidential elections are all just kabuki theater to give the people the illusion of choice and keep their attention away from who the real rulers are. The company's plate steel bunkers, which are designed to last for generations, can hold a minimum of 1 year's worth of food per resident and withstand earthquakes. But while some want to bunker down alone, others prefer to ride out the apocalypse in a community setting that offers an experience a bit closer to the real world. Another image. 5-star shelter, a secret bunker in southeast London built to protect key government employees during a nuclear winter, has been transformed into a $4 million luxury residence. Developers of community shelters like these often acquire decommissioned military bunkers and missile silos built by the United States or Soviet governments, sites that would cost hundreds of millions of dollars to build today. The fortified structures are designed to withstand a nuclear strike and come equipped with power systems, water purification systems, blast valves, and nuclear, biological, chemical, or MBC air filtration. Most include food supplies for a year or more, and many have hydroponic gardens to supplement the rations. The developers also work to create a well-rounded community with a range of skills necessary for long-term survival, from doctors to teachers. The servants of these elites down in those bunkers, even during the apocalypse, they're not going to be doing any work. That's what the kingdom of heaven's for. Back in Revelation chapter 6, and every bondman. Vecino says Vivos received a flurry of interest in its shelters around the 2016 election from both liberals and conservatives, and completely sold out of spaces in its community shelters in the past few weeks. Designer Arc, one of those shelters, Vivos X Point, is near the Black Hills of South Dakota and consists of 575 military bunkers that served as an Army munitions depot until 1967. Presently being converted into a facility that will accommodate about 5,000 people, the interiors of each bunker are outfitted by the owners at a cost of between $25,000 to $200,000 each. The price depends on whether they want a minimalist space or a home with high-end finishes. The compound itself will be equipped with all the comforts of a small town, including a community theater, classrooms, hydroponic gardens, a medical clinic, a spa, and a gym. For clients looking for something further afield and more luxurious, the company also offers Vivos Europa One, billed as a modern-day Noah's Ark in a former Cold War-era munitions storage facility in Germany. The structure, which was carved out of solid bedrock, offers 34 private residences, each starting at 2,500 square feet, with the option to add a second story for a total of 5,000 square feet. The units will be delivered empty, and each owner will have the space renovated to suit their own tastes and needs, choosing from options that include screening rooms, private pools, and gyms. Vecino compares the individual spaces to underground yachts and even recommends that owners commission the same builders and designers that worked on their actual vessels. Most of these people have high-end yachts, so they already have the relationship and they know the taste, fit, and finish that they want, he explains. The vast complex includes a tram system to transport residences throughout the shelter, where they can visit its restaurants, that's plural, theater, coffee shops, pool, and game areas. These elites are going to be living deliciously underground while you people are suffering on the surface. We have all the comforts of home, but also the comforts that you expect when you leave your home, Vecino adds. So with this article, I'm going to go to my last article on steemit.com titled Bill Gates Builds Nuclear Bunker, Tells Staff to Leave the Country. And this article came out 3 years ago. The devil of the hour, the Edomite pushing for mass vaccinations globally. And who knows whether he's going to survive this upcoming destruction or not. But I believe he will, since while he's not on that level of a Rothschilds or a Rockefeller, he's definitely up there in that elites club. Innovis Gates urgently ordered the construction of a nuclear bunker at his Seattle property and has suggested longtime personnel employee to leave the U.S. earlier than the subsequent weekend, says a member of his staff. And I apologize for the grammar in this article. It's pretty bad. He didn't say how long we should be away, but he said we should definitely leave before the following weekend, said Mr. Hall, a pool technician who says he watched the construction of the nuclear bunker and explains it is large enough to comfortably hold a handful of people only. Besides the nuclear bunker, several smaller tunnels and bunkers were built underneath the main residence, connecting them up to form a small underground fortress. While the first-rate wealthy are definitely no strangers to big subterranean production, the timing and nature of Innovoice Gates's production has raised eyebrows. Again, these higher-ups have inside information about what's going to take place. Explaining that the bunker has entrances and exits big sufficient for cars, in addition to escape tunnels, decontamination rooms, Swiss-made air purifiers, and bulletproof hatches, Bill Gates seemingly authorized the very last construction after being again and again assured he and others would continue to exist within the underground structure within the occasion of a 500,000-pound blast. What does that sound like? A nuclear detonation. Inside a luxury nuclear bunker. He won't tell us why or how he knows what he knows, but he was adamant the bunker had to be finished as soon as possible. I've never seen him so anxious. Mr. Corridor says Innovoice Gates has put a number of effort into getting to know the mental components of subterranean confinement with the intention of ensuring that he and the selected few will characteristic nicely in instances of calamity. Man, this grammar's really bad. But he can't take everybody he knows with him and has strongly advised long-term staff and associates to leave the country as soon as they can. Bill says Africa or Russia is the safest place right now, Mr. Hall said. And I'm pretty sure once things really start popping off, Bill Gates isn't going to stay at his residence in the United States. He's going to leave the country and go to some safe place somewhere else. But it's all futile. Again, as I said at the beginning of this video, no matter where you elites go, the 144,000 are going to go there and find you. This is Amos chapter 9. I'm going to read verse 1 through 3. I saw Yahweh standing upon the altar, and he said, Smite the lintel of the door, that the posts may shake, and cut them in the head, all of them, and I will slay the last of them with the sword. He that fleeth of them shall not flee away, and he that escapeth of them shall not be delivered. You elites hiding in your doomsday bunkers won't escape the wrath of Yahweh Ba'Yishim Yahushai or the wrath of their 144,000 hunters. Though they dig into hell, thence shall mine hand take them. And that hell is speaking of these underground bunkers. It's not talking about some Saturday morning Christian cartoon where a man in a red suit and a pitchfork is poking people underground. That's all just Greek mythology. When you go into the Strongs for the word hell, it's Sheol, which means the grave or pit, which is underground. Though they climb up to heaven, thence will I bring them down. And while this may sound like some science fiction movie, the elites also have low-orbit space stations that they're going to go to when all hell breaks loose. And though they hide themselves in the top of Carmel, those mountain bunkers, I will search and take them out thence. And though they be hid from my sight in the bottom of the sea, they also have undersea bases and luxury submarines. Thence will I command the serpent, and he shall bite them. Not only are the 144,000 going to be going after you elites, but also Leviathan is going to get in on that work and hunting you down. And now I'm going to close it out in Psalms 149, verse 5 through 9. Again, after the elect drag you elites out of your hiding places, we're going to slap chains on you, and you're going to be the first fruits of slavery in the kingdom of heaven. Let the saints be joyful in glory. Let them sing aloud upon their beds. The elect, the 144,000 and the rest of the righteous 1/3, who are going to enjoy the first fruits of the kingdom of heaven, and who, after Yahushai, are going to get first dibs on ruling over you elites rigorously. Let the high praises of the Most High be in their mouth, and a two-edged sword in their hand, to execute vengeance upon the heathen and punishments upon the people, to bind their kings with chains and their nobles with fetters of iron. You Rothschilds, you Rockefellers, you prime ministers, you presidents, you sheiks, Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, etc., to execute upon them the judgment written, this honor have all his saints, praise ye Yahweh. And what an honor it's going to be of that elect number and the first fruits in the kingdom of heaven getting their hands on you elites. So with this video, I hope you sincere Akim were edified. Just keep strong and keep pushing this word. We're almost out of this final wicked captivity of the heathens, chiefly Esau, Edom. And as always, I'm going to say Abad Babal, Kwam Yasharala. Until next time, Shalom.